I don't know how I'm gonna start this video because I have something to share and it might be hard to believe, but it's time that I share my truth. I don't know about every single art supply and what their purposes are. And I know it's hard to believe because I built this entire channel just reviewing art supplies, but it's true. It's true. There's just some art supplies that I have no idea what they do. And I know it's hard to believe that I don't know everything in the world. I was shocked too. But alas, there are just some art supplies that I just don't know about. So I thought today we would remedy that. I thought it'd be a fun adventure if today I went to my local craft store, walk up and down the art supply section, and just try out art supplies that I've never seen before, stuff that I have no idea what it does, or quite frankly, just stuff that I don't know how to use. And see if some of these weird and obscure art supplies, see if there's a reason why they're not very popular and why not a lot of people use them. Before we get into it, my name is Ray, and if you enjoy really strange and obscure art supplies, as well as art challenges, art history, and testing out art hacks, that's pretty much my entire gig on this channel. So if that sounds like something that's up your alley, and if you're already subscribed, thank you. And with that being said, let's roll out Autobots. Okay, so let's see what we got. This one will be a good one. This next item is called Liquid Frisket, which I absolutely love the name Frisket. It kind of sounds like biscuit, it kind of sounds like brisket, it kind of sounds like fricket. And essentially what this is a little tube of liquid latex. And what you do with this is whenever you're using like inks or watercolor or markers, you guys know the drill. Once you put like marker on a page, it's not coming off. There's no erasing it. For example, let's just say you're working with some watercolor and you're painting a face and you don't want to mess up the whites of the eyes. So what you do is you get the liquid frisket, you put a little bit of the liquid frisket on the areas that you want it to be completely white, and it dries down on the paper, basically creating like a little protective barrier. And when you're done painting or drawing or whatever, you peel off the liquid latex and bada bing, bada boom, the area that you wanted preserved will stay preserved. And I am a little concerned because this liquid frisket, it has like a neon orange glob at the very bottom of it. I'm guessing it's some kind of like separation or something. And because I've never used this product before, I have no idea if that's normal or not. Now for the frisket, according to the directions, the very first thing that you do is shake it up. And hopefully I shake it enough that that weird orange thing is gonna go away. Kinda, it's mostly gone. Oh, this stuff stinks. This stuff smells straight up just like, literally like burnt rubber. It stinks really, really bad. And all I'm gonna do is paint like a nice thin line of frisket. And from this point forward, I just wait. Now that it's dry, the next step is to add a little bit of paint. And once the watercolor is on, this leads to yet another round of waiting. And now for the final step. This part is gonna be so satisfying to me. I love those ASMRs with the nails where they're like tapping and stuff. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This works insanely good. Like suspiciously good. The areas where I laid down the frisket, it's pretty much perfect. There are some areas of the Frisket where you can see like little red dots, and that's because I didn't lay it on thick. There was like some bubbles, and I guess those bubbles popped, and when they popped, I guess they let the paint seep in. So that's 100% my fault, not the Frisket's fault. But other than that, it dried quickly, it worked perfectly, and it was satisfying to peel off. This product is absolutely so cool. It makes me feel like I'm living in the future or something. If I had to rate this, I would have to give this a perfect 10 out of 10. This is awesome. There's so many good stuff in this bag, like I don't know which one to get next, you know? Out of everything, if this item does work, I'm just gonna warn you guys now, I'm never gonna shut up about this product. I have been wanting something like this forever. So what this is a magic black eraser, and it's specifically designed to erase charcoal, graphite, and pastel chalk. I love using charcoal pencils. I love the range, the value. I love how dirty they get. I love how nice portraits come out. But the problem is, for me at least, when I use charcoal pencils, they don't erase very well. I mean, they do erase, but it leaves kind of like a weird after mark on it. But supposedly, this is the answer to my prayers. I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but this eraser is by the brand Generals. And if you don't know, Generals charcoal is literally the only charcoal that I work with. And I don't know, maybe it'll work better because it's the exact same brand as the magic eraser. So I'm just gonna try it out. And before I even test out these, first I want to try to erase it with just like a regular eraser to see if there's any difference. Technically, charcoal does erase, but it does leave some kind of like a weird aftermark on it. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And let's see if this magic black eraser makes any difference at all. Oh, and by the way, it kind of feels exactly just like a regular eraser. It's a little bit harder, but they feel the exact same. I mean, it kind of worked. The packaging led me to believe that it's gonna erase perfect, like it's not gonna leave anything left behind. And unlike a regular eraser, the lines that it erased are much more sharp. So it does erase a little bit better, but as far as like that weird aftermark that you find with charcoal pencils, I mean, it's still there. So I don't really know how to review this because on one hand, yes, it does work, but on the other hand, it doesn't work as well as it advertises. And these are way more expensive than just a regular eraser that you can get at like Dollar Tree or whatever. So based on that, based on the fact that it's not as kablam as it shows on the advertising, I would rate this maybe a 5 out of 10. It does kind of work though. Now for this next art supply, I just want to say that a lot of artists, we tend to either have a preference for acrylic or oil paints. And I'm sure that there's some magical unicorn of an artist out there who enjoys both equally, but I've noticed that a lot of artists in general, they either prefer the very fast, vibrant, thin drying acrylic paint, or they're like myself who prefers the more thick, slow drying oil paint. And by the way, I'm trying to say oil instead of oil, okay? So if you hear me switch it up, that's why I'm trying to say it correctly. And the entire reason that I'm bringing all this up is because this paint combines the best of both worlds. This paint, my friend, is slow drying acrylic paint. I've heard of these before, but I've never had the opportunity to see if they actually work. According to the packaging, these give you so much more time if you want to spend more time blending. Maybe you want to mix up some colors. Maybe you don't like the way that acrylic dries super quick on your palette. So basically, this seems to be the best of the both worlds. So my question is, why is this not more widely used amongst artists everywhere? Right off the bat, it has a pretty good variety of just like regular sized tubes. And it also comes with a giant tub of white, which I love whenever art companies do that. Because when it comes to like white or black or colorless blenders, these are the colors that you're just gonna be using constantly. So I love whenever art companies go the extra mile and add in like a full giant size thing of white. The thing that catches my eye is, what is this? According to the packaging, it's kind of like whenever you have some acrylic and it's like really thick, so you add a little bit of water in it to kind of like thin it out, you know? That's exactly what this does. Now, usually I would just go straight in with like swatching it and seeing what all colors they have. But like I said, this is a completely new thing to me. So to test this out, I'm gonna try it on just like 2 regular acrylics, see how they blend, get my mind jogged for like the formulation, and go from there. So it's only been 4 minutes since I started swatching this. And pretty much, as you can see, it's pretty much already almost completely dry. It's a little bit tacky, but it's almost dry. And supposedly that's not gonna be the case with these paints. This is weird. This is the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. Right now, my mind is completely tripped because this paint is very thin, it's very liquidy, it's very vibrant like acrylic. It's a lot smoother than regular acrylic, and it's a lot more transparent than regular acrylic. In fact, to tell you guys how transparent it is, on the tube where the little sample is, you can actually see the black lines underneath because the paint is so transparent. But, and this is a big but, it's blending just like oil paint. The technique I used is called dry brushing, where you get a really fluffy brush and you kind of like smear it against 2 oil colors and it like melts perfectly. For me personally, that's a technique that I would never in a million years use with acrylic because it just dries so quickly. But I was able to do that with this weird Frankenstein paint. And the other thing that's tripping me out is usually with oil paint, the colors inside it are usually a lot more natural and dark, and usually acrylic is the one that has much more vibrant and crazy colors. But this paint is acrylic, so obviously you're still gonna get those crazy bright colors. I think my brain just broke. This is some paint that I'm gonna have to look more into this, but if I had to rate this just based on first impressions alone, I'm gonna have to give this an 8 out of 10. This is weird. I want Chloe to try this out. I bet she would get a kick out of this. And this actually leads us, my friends, to the very last item. Last night I had a dream about it. Yesterday I was considering filming this video with like no makeup on because I was that eager to try this stuff out. At this point, I've read the instructions. I still have no idea what it's for. I don't know why this has a purpose. I don't know who would want this, and I'm 100% open to like knowing about this product. Like, I'm so eager to try it. So what this is a very, very interesting, strange art supply that I've never heard of. This is Golden Brand Crackle Paste. So what this is a white opaque medium that cracks as it dries. I think the description of this is pretty clear on what it does. It's literally a paste, and when you put those paints mixed with this stuff on your painting, it apparently cracks your paint. And I guess I've just been doing art for so long, my tiny monkey brain just doesn't understand, like, what is the need to crack your paints? The only things that I can think of is maybe like adding this to your painting for like a fun texture in the background. That's all I got, and that's it. So yeah, let's go ahead and try this bad boy out and see if I can get it to make some really, really big cracks. All right, so I watched a tutorial on this Crackle Paste, and apparently you have to lay it on kind of thick onto your painting. And I saw that if you apply it too thin, it won't do the crackling effect. And I'm just gonna, oh, it's like whipped cream. This looks like marshmallow fluff. I don't know if any of you guys know what I'm talking about, but that's exactly what this looks like. Forbidden marshmallow snack. The instructions say that you can dilute it a little bit with paint, like up to 10%. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of paint and just get a little bit of color in there. That way it'll be a little bit easier for you guys to see. It kind of smells like, what is that stuff when you bleach your hair? You put in the bleach, which is the powder, and then you put in the liquid. I can't remember what it's called, but it stinks exactly like this, which is probably not good. And I guess I'm just gonna layer it on very thick and very evenly, and yeah, see how much it crackles on the canvas. Now, like I said, this is obviously my very first time ever using something like this, so I don't know how long it's gonna take, but on the packaging, it says that it can take up to 3 days. So I guess I'll see you when I see you. The smell of this stinks so bad and it's so potent that I think I'm just gonna leave it in here in my laundry room, and I'll check back in tomorrow and see. I want to taste this so bad. It looks like forbidden frosting. Okay, I'll check back up in 3 days. Okay, so it is currently the next day, and before anybody says anything, the answer is yes. I am wearing the same jacket and shirt from yesterday. Please don't come for me. I just pulled this guy out of the laundry room. It's been a little bit over 24 hours. I would say maybe like 38 hours or something like that. And even though I'm still very clueless as to what this supply actually does, it actually 100% came through. Check this out. This is exactly what my skin looks like whenever I don't moisturize. The amount of cracks that this paste produces is absolutely insane. And it's kind of interesting because in some areas where I applied it very thinly, it has really small cracks. And in the areas where I globbed on a thick layer, the cracks are much bigger and much more dramatic. This thing dried down hard as a rock. So I'm guessing in theory what you would do is paint directly on top of this and maybe get some like really cool textures. And if you have an idea what to do with this, please let me know. I would love to know. But yeah, even though this is one of the most obscure art supplies that I've ever used, it does work. It is a little hard to get it perfectly even on the canvas, and obviously you can't control where it cracks. But other than that, it worked exactly how it said. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. But anyway, guys, that concludes today's video. Thank you for joining me on this crazy, interesting, weird adventure. I feel like we found some pretty good gems in this. If you want to see more weird art supplies, I'll leave the playlist here. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And yeah, with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you guys next video. Bye.